Record it.
So what I want to show you is just kind of how these work. So we're going to assume a 55, let's go 40, male non-tobacco, and toggle for premium calculation. So $82.58 at 40. That's actually not too bad. Signature term express. Yeah, return a premium. So 45, you get somebody that's, it's 120 bucks a month. So similarly, we can go run an illustration. And what this means is that at the end of 30 years, who's got a calculator? I mean, 100,000 is pretty low. Let's do like 300,000. It's more realistic. Let's just try the Express. I haven't actually done this with the Express, so this will be kind of interesting. Create client. So what we have is this is what's called WinFlex. So this is the illustrations tool that you will probably use quite often, because this is how you can run like an Index Universal Life Express illustration for Mutual of Omaha, but you can also do the fully underwritten products and look and see what those are going to look like. So we got a 45-year-old male. Let's make sure we're in the same state. So we'll choose Washington. We're going to leave risk class standard non-tobacco because IUL doesn't have, it's just, it assumes everybody's standard. If you guys remember from the training the other night, it's actually a table 2 to table 4, but uh, we're going to do tests. Okay, solve for. We're using easy solve. We're going to solve for the premium for 300,000. Automatically, you should see that our premium is going to be a little better. Policy options monthly, and then we got to add my information in here, otherwise it won't populate. Okay. So this client's going to pay $348 on the left. They're going to pay $348.73 per month to just get their money back at the end of 30 years. On the right, we're going to see what that's going to produce. Probably the payment's going to be quite a bit lower. There we go. Yeah, payment's a lot lower. Payment's only $250 a month for the same level of coverage. So on the left, we got a 30-year return premium. On the right, we've got an Index Universal Life Express. Same coverage amount. This one's 255.94. This one's 348.73. And what we're going to look for is you scroll down and you're looking for these tables, because this will show you how this thing will actually perform. So you'll notice, first thing you should notice is at the end of 20 years on, kind of their expected assumptions, at the end of 20 years, the cash value, so surrender value is cash value equals 61,685. The client's put 61,426. If we take it 30 years out, the client's paid 92,138 and the surrender value is at 120. So who's got a calculator? I do. 348.73 times 12 times 30 equals 125. So this client on the left would have paid $125,000 into this policy just to get their money back. And they would have gotten back 125 to 542, but that is guaranteed. On the right, you've got an Indexed Universal Life Express, and what this client has done is they've only paid 92,000. So they're about $33,000 less over the 30 years. So that's, that 100 bucks a month. But what you can see is our cash value or our surrender value is 125.70 based on the previous 20 years of performance. Now, obviously, the variable here is like, well, what if it doesn't return that? What if the economy goes to shit and it's 375? Well, they're only going to get back 76,000, but they also only put 92 into it. So there is a potential loss, right? It's like risk comes with reward, or reward comes with some risk. But the way these are calculated is the non-guaranteed illustrated interest rate 597 is literally based on the historical performance that Mutual of Omaha has returned over at least the last 20, if not the 25 years. Does that make sense? Are you guys seeing this?
Yeah, I'm following. The policy all the way on the left of the screen, that is a return of premium paid.
It's what's called a Kansas City Life return of premium term product.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, or term ROP, right? So
Got it.
what that's doing is it's saying that at the end of 30 years, if you haven't used this, you'll get back all the money you put into it.
Right,
But you'll notice that they paid $348.73 a month for that product, right?
right.
So here's an interesting exercise. We take this, we're going to go back to our illustration, and instead of solving for the premium, we're going to say no solve. We want 300,000, and let's just match the premium, 348.73, and then recalculate. And what is this called in the world of IULs if we are changing the premium to be higher than what our easy solve gave us? What's it called?
Overcharging or overfunding?
Over overfunding. Thank you. Definitely not overcharging.
I corrected. I said overfunding.
Yeah, no, you're good. But what you'll see is like see here target premium. So the premium that they're actually going to pay is 4,185, but our target is only 3538. So this is the only thing, this is what will generate our commission. So you will make more commission on this product. I'll put run illustration. Let's just see what their illustration looks like. There we go. Premium paid up. So yeah, they get to, this is if they just converted this into like an insurance option, then they could choose to get 192,000 of paid up insurance, but who the fuck would want that? Or they'll get back all the money that they put into it. Over here, let's look and see 125,550 is the number to beat. The client's going to pay, well, what was that number? $348 a month on a policy for $300,000 in face value. At the end of 30 years, what's our number to beat? 125. 125,550 is what they would get back on the Kansas City Life return of premium. And here at the end of 30 years, the client's got somewhere between 141 and $216,000.
Wow.
Same payment, same coverage amount, different product structure.
You put to not solve for. Can you just, I missed yesterday. What is it that the solve for it's not solve for is doing?
It's the easy solve is just calculating out based on their assumptions what payment is required in order for the cash value to equal the policy value at the time the insured reaches, I think, age 100.
Oh, got it. Got it.
So last night, Kyle, we were talking about how an IUL is built and what it does. And then we said, gosh, well, there is this term return of premium product that's out there. But if you understand it, you'll learn that Kansas City Life return of premium is actually an IUL with a minimum guarantee. So all Kansas City Life is doing is they're charging way more, right, to guarantee that that minimum cash value will be there to pay back to the client.
Right.
And you could do the same thing in an IUL, and even in their shit the bed scenario, the client's still getting more money back. Same payment in. So then if you're trying to figure out, should we do a Kansas City Life return to premium or should we do an IUL? This is better.
Sounds like IUL.
This is obviously better for the client, right? So that was the purpose of expressing that. Now let's have a little more fun. Let's go to Transamerica. And then we'll compare the Transamerica with the Mutual of Omaha. So we go to, we'll just go to here because I don't want to deal with their illustrator. All right, we got
Oh,
male. 45 years old. Oh, fuck me. What's the date? What's the birth date for 45? 05/01/1981.
81.
81.
Thank you. I should know that because I'm getting close. So we go Washington, make sure the state's the same. Risk class, non-tobacco. Now, Transamerica's Illustrator is a little different. But okay, so we want 300,000 in face amount. And what we shall find is, I'll view results. Here we go. So their plan premium is only 244. Like that's the minimum premium that they need. I don't think this lets me. That's to max. So what you guys will see here, see this maximum protection, target solve, maximize cash value. So this is kind of the same as like lean muscular fat, right? This is like, but this is a little better than minimum. Like this is still good. Their maximized protection is still good. Like I would still base it off of that because then you go to their target, 441 is the target. But if we look at 30 years out, even at 441, now that kind of makes sense. It's like at 441, they've got a cash value of 306. So let's go back to WinFlex. And let's type in 441. Coverage is 300,000, 441 is the payment, and then let's see which one performs better. So all these tools are available to all you guys. WinFlex is free. Transamerica, this is built in. But you'll probably find that Transamerica's will illustrate a little better than. Oh, what's interesting is it looks like the death benefit is increasing. Why is death benefit increasing? That's kind of interesting. Cumulative premium. Huh. That's pretty cool. Under target solve, it looks like it's an increasing death benefit. Yeah, so you're maximized. So these are actually three different products. So the maximum protection is the lowest payment, but you get a level death benefit with Transamerica. See that green line? I mean, the level.
Yeah.
But if we change it and go back to the target solve, now we actually get an increasing death benefit, which is pretty neat. So this one with Mutual of Omaha is a level death benefit. And if we go 30 years out with Transamerica, death benefit 558, but cash surrender value is 300,000. And that is pretty much matching the cash surrender value of Mutual of Omaha. Mutual of Omaha is at 310 versus 306. So that's about the same. But the difference is that with Transamerica, you actually get an increasing death benefit. So that would be a better product for the client. You guys tracking with that? You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now for shits
Getting
and
a couple hundred
gigs,
thousand.
let's take this and let's go to Foresters and we'll run the same calculation. Shits and gigs. Okay, so we'll go to their smart UL. We've got a client that is aged 45, Washington State, non-medical.
45 or 44?
45. And we want 300,000. And we're gonna
Kyle, foresters will round up to the next age. So even if the client is 44, if it's closer to his birthday, they consider him 45.
Oh, okay.
yeah, they go aged they underwrite based on aged nearest birthday instead of last birthday. Okay, so there we got all that. And then let's go look at our illustration. Okay, so it doesn't really show us in the chart. So we'll have to go look at the table. But okay, 30 years. Yeah, look, for these guys, cash value is only 220 under their best case scenario. So with Foresters, we got 220 best case scenario. With Mutual of Omaha, we got 310 best case scenario. And with Trans, we got 306. But with Trans, the death benefit is 558, whereas with Mutual of Omaha, it's only 332. So which one do you give the client? What's going to be better than for the client? We could go Kansas City Life Return of Premium. I think that's out. And we can go
Trans.
Trans, we can go Mutual of Omaha, or we can go Foresters. Which one do you go with?
Trans.
All day, right? All day. So for your younger, healthier, your young, healthy clients that need a good amount of coverage, meaning like north of 100,000, Trans is pretty hard to beat. And instead of doing the minimum or the maximized protection, you can change that to be target solve. This is for somebody that cares about having that retirement account and also providing maximum value to their family. And so like if I was 45 years old and I was shopping for a IUL, Trans seems like a no-brainer. Right? But if we change this to 100,000 and let's say we go, let's go run these and let's do the adult. We'll go male and I don't know, 0, 5, 0, 1. And let's make them 65 instead of 45. Actually, let's make them even older. Let's make them 56. Let's make them 70. And then we'll go do the same over here. If you guys are wondering, this is the shit that I end up spending, I do on my weekends. I'm just like, I wonder if. And I'll sit here and go run these things to find out who's actually going to be the better option. So, okay, on the maximized protection, we've got our level death benefit, $406.85 a month for 100 grand. And now we're just shopping based on price, right? Because at 70 years old, they're not really going to care about cash value or having that retirement account there. So at 70 years old for 100,000, they're at 406.85. Oh shit. Well, Mutual of Omaha is going to beat them. Long story short, let's change this to 300,000 and see what that looks like.
Now, this is someone who's in phenomenal health, perfect health.
Well, no, this is just somebody that qualifies.
Hmm.
So Trans at 300,000 probably beats Mutual of Omaha. 1141, 1180. Actually, Mutual of Omaha is pretty competitive. So you get a healthy person. Whoa, what is that? Oh, somebody's leaving me a fucking voicemail. If you got at 70 years old, Mutual of Omaha is still pretty hard to beat, even at 300,000. It's close, but it looks like Mutual of Omaha is still coming away as the winner on that one. What was this? Easy solve. Let's make sure. Oh, easy solve. There we go. Wow, concierge planning writer, access to personalized service and online tools to help prepare estate documents and manage funeral planning needs. Minimum face amount of 250,000 is required. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we changed it to easy solve. What it was doing was giving us minimum payment before that. And yeah, now Trans is actually smoking Mutual of Omaha by, well, I shouldn't say smoking, but 66 bucks. So all of this is just to demonstrate that each carrier is going to do things. Each policy is a little different. So you should know that for your higher face amount clients that need more coverage and they're older, actually for higher face amount clients, period, Transamerica is probably the best bet. For your cost conscious consumers, where like if you change this to 100,000, I bet Transamerica is going to get smoked. Any bets?
Yeah.
No bets. CJ, what do you think? Trans or moo?
I'm gonna go moo.
I'm gonna go moo too. Dude, it's gonna be close actually. Wow, trans beat him by $12 at 100 grand and above. Trans is winning at 70 years old. That's remarkable. But now check this out.
Needless to say, if we end up with one of these clients, we're coming to you for our
No,
first
you're
few
not. No,
illustrations.
no, you can't. Like, don't come to me. The reason for us doing this phone call and showing you this is so that you know how to do it. If I wanted you all to come to me, I wouldn't show you any of this shit. I would just say, hey, go ride the phones all day and let me know when you got something to close, and I'll figure it out. But that's a much different comp stack. Now look at this. 70,000 is 417. So 70,000 is actually more expensive than 100 grand. Isn't that wild? Which is just how Transamerica's pricing system works. So, but you end up with an interesting increasing death benefit. But it's like, dude, the 70-year-olds, I mean, maybe they make it to fucking maybe they make it to 90. That's past life expectancy for a 70-year-old. So interesting though, yeah. Okay, questions? You understood all of it? You got it all locked in?
Why are you asking me?
I'm just asking. No one's asking any questions. So that means I
Recorded this,
assume that
right?
everybody fully understood everything that I just said. There's zero questions.
I have a question, Dustin, which is something you said to me before. Like, I think at one time you said you would spend 2 hours every night after your calls just studying stuff like this, like researching through the different carriers and things like that. Am I remembering that correctly?
When I was new, like I wanted to understand what an illustration was. And so, or like I just want to know how shit works. And so I was like, how does it work? And someone was like, dude, I don't know. You'd have to look at an illustration. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna go look at an illustration. And I was looking at it and I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And then I called Mutual of Omaha. I was like, hey, explain to me what this means. Like, what am I looking at here? And I made the person at the sales desk sit on the phone with me and explain it to me. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I understand these three different tables. Now I understand the different risk factors. And that was super helpful for me.
Okay. So where did you start, like when you were doing 2 hours a night of study on just the different carriers, just with the illustrations, or?
No, originally I started just with I actually started with the carrier underwriting documents. I mean, originally I was bugging Trevor to just get me whatever he could, so he was sending me product brochures and none of it made any sense. And then I got a hold of the underwriting documents and I started studying those. And then I got a hold of WinFlex and started running illustrations just to see what would happen. And then I didn't understand the illustration, so I called Mutual of Omaha. And then, but once you understand one carrier's illustration, you understand all of them. And the biggest thing that I didn't understand was like, how are these interest rates calculated? These things right here. Because you end up with these three different tables, and all these are doing is expressing different scenarios that are driven by these interest rates. And so these interest rates are the interest credits that are given to they're given to cash value. And if you scroll through this thing somewhere, it will tell you how those rates are calculated.
Right. Okay. I just think,
Here we go. So here it is. So historical 25-year average credit rates. Okay, so the average over the last 25 years is 5.97 for Mutual of Omaha. And then we could look and see like S&P 1 year 100% participation. This is what's been returned. And you'll notice that Mutual of Omaha's has been capped at 9.25, right? So even though the S&P's been returning 24, 23, 16%, the interest credit's only 9.25. But you end up with all these, basically, it's like the stock market's been all or nothing. It's either returning 20 something percent, something above 10, or it's returning like a negative number, in which case there's a 0% interest credit. Most of them are done on 1 year, 100% participation. That's interesting that there's this 1 year uncapped, which I don't think I've ever played with this. Which that means it's a different percentage, it's a different interest rate. So that would be interesting. So this is Greg, this is actually my process. I'm like, oh, I wonder what that would do. And so I'd go back over to the illustration and we'd say index strategy. Does it give me? Yeah, now it's giving us 1 year uncapped. So let's change it. Oh, it's saying this is actually maximum illustrated rate 5.48 versus 5.97. And so this is actually going to illustrate a little better than this one. It's a little interesting. That's new. I think it's new. So yeah, I might fuck around and go decide to like play with that and see what how that would shake out. But it tells you up here that the maximum illustrated rate is 5.48, which is worse than 5.97. So, you know, that's not gonna produce a better illustration, but that is interesting.
So there is a difference though between the maximum illustrated rate and then the actual cap rate, correct?
Yeah, so what this is, this is an IUL, so these are different indices or different ways that you can assign the cash value, what you want the cash value to be linked to. So B of A US Agility Index, 1 year uncapped account, S&P 500, 1 year 100% participation, but you'll notice that 100% participation has this 9.25 cap. And then these other ones are kind of, I just haven't really messed with those. But yeah, so now you've got two that are uncapped. Oh, because this is, they apply 55% participation rate, which means that if the stock market goes up 10%, you're only going to get a 5.5 accredited to the account. So that's why these are illustrating not quite as well. But long story short, that's too complicated. Don't fuck with that. Just leave it 100% participation amount. The S&P 500 1 year 100% participation, and that's probably all you need to worry about.
Yeah.
Is WinFlex free?
WinFlex is free. Yeah. And so you can do a lot more than this, right? So this is we're just looking at Index Universal Life. And so on their fully underwritten, they've got life protection and they got income advantage. And both of these will illustrate differently. So life protection is more about somebody cares about more coverage for their family, whereas income advantage, somebody cares more about cash accumulation. And those will illustrate differently. Coincidentally, the Index Universal Life Express actually, which no one's been able to explain to me how this works, but for some reason, if you pay more into an IULE, it actually performs better than the income advantage IUL for younger people. But you go, like, if you have, I don't know, an older client, most of the clients that we deal with, and you're talking with them about doing we're doing a fully underwritten deal, then you'd choose the life protection. Now, did anybody write down what that payment was? It was pretty close. It was like 410 for 100,000 in coverage, right? It was like 406 or something. Anybody write that down? No? Okay. So it was 406 or something pretty close to that. So if we go back, we look at insured, let's assume standard. Okay. So standard, easy. We did the IULE, which is their simplified issue, and it produced 406 for 100,000 for a 70-year-old male. Now, if we go to the life protection, which is the fully underwritten, and we want 100,000, let's see what this produces. It's going to be better than 406. Spoiler alert, it'll be better. But just so you guys can actually see it without having to go do this, or hopefully you guys get really interested and decide, the curiosity gets you. And you decide to go set up your WinFlex account and do this.
Yeah, I'm at the part where it says companies in my profile and where I just enter the agent code.
Yeah, so you have to sign up for the various companies. Like I think I only have a few, but primarily I only use it for Mutual of Omaha's fully underwritten. But look at that, 352. So the client saves $54 a month by doing a fully underwritten, assuming standard. And then the question would be, at what
Valley
point,
Nurseries, Redondo.
what? So the question is then, if standard rates on fully underwritten are illustrating better than standard rates on Index Universal Life Express, like why? Why is that? And the answer is that on the Index Universal Life, they're actually not giving the client a standard rate. They're giving them something more like Table 1 or Table 2. And so if we run Table 2 on a fully underwritten IUL, we'll get an idea. Table 2 ends up being 438. So that's a little higher, not a lot higher, but a little higher. So it's Table 1 to Table 2. Point of that is just to demonstrate what we talked about, I think last week, that the simplified issue actually assigns a little bit of risk because they're not being fully underwritten. You take a standard rating with a fully underwritten policy, it will always perform better or be a lower cost than a simplified issue policy. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah, so basically like what this all comes down to is like you're finding the best policy, best coverage that'll prevent a chargeback and another agent replacing what we wrote for them.
Yeah. Well, and it's just you guys understanding, like seeing the ways that different carriers work, so that like Kat came in this morning and said, "Hey, I've got a 26," or actually yesterday said, "Hey, I have a 26-year-old that just bought a house. She's really smart. This is what she's thinking about. What should I do with this?" And so she said this would be a really good thing to train on. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, that is a really good thing to train on, because not everyone is going to fit in the 65 to 75-year-old bucket. And we don't have to do, like, there's a bunch of different products, right? Every carrier has something that's a little different. And so if we're looking at an IUL, then yeah, different IULs will do different things and are better for different people. So what I learned out of this actually is that Transamerica has this target solve, which means you're going to make more money, and it becomes an increasing death benefit, which is really freaking cool. So Kat, for your client, it's like we should take that client to Transamerica and do the target solve for her, because that's going to give her increasing death benefits. She's going to get incredible cash value growth. Like that's going to be a great deal for her.
We went through that this morning and she's thinking between target solve and maximum cash value. And we did a screen share and we looked at both graphs together. But my question, and I know someone asked it the other day and you answered it, and I just can't remember the answer. When it comes time to putting in that application, am I putting in, well, this graph is showing the same price, but like, so for example's sake, the skinny one was $81.01 or whatever, and then the target solve was like, let's call it 125. So when I'm putting in the Transamerica IULE application and it asks for the premium solve, am I putting in the 79 and then she's just supposed to know to pay the 125? Or am I
No.
putting in?
You just put in the 125, or if it gives you the option for the solve, you'll select target solve instead of maximize protection. I haven't gone and done one of those, but what's her date of birth, Kat?
August 2nd, 99. It's crazy
California?
that I remember that off the top of my head.
California?
Tennessee.
So and the difference with that, Cat, is how much, what's the face amount?
300,000.
$81.41. You go to target solve, and what is it? What you said is like 125-ish. Yeah, 158. Dude, but look at this. It's
And
like
the max cash value is like 240, I think.
yeah, the only difference is you're just you will only get paid on the 150. But yeah, I mean, if she can swing it, great. I'm almost kind of like split it up between two carriers instead of doing it all in one. But that way you get the commission on it. But this is
Yeah, she did text me and she said she's leaning towards target solve, but
yeah,
she's also paying $38 a month for 20 grand for Lincoln Heritage.
it's
But
probably just a,
because I,
it's probably a whole life policy.
hmm.
Cancel that. If she wants the extra 20 grand, throw it in this. And she just doesn't need it, you know.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
It's like, look, the payment went up $10, and now she's paying $10 for an extra 20,000 in coverage instead of $30 for an extra 20,000. And like, yeah, we're looking at year 30, and she's got 122,000. Cumulative premiums only 60 grand, and she's got 122 grand in there. Like, that's pretty damn cool. Not to mention, if she was to pass, right? Like this is increasing death benefit, which is super cool that they do this. So that's a pretty stellar product for her. I need to go back and look at Wendy Calderon's policy. But yeah, okay. That's what I had for you guys today. Down the rabbit hole we go. What questions, things that are coming up for you?
What's the max you can overfund an IUL without like avoiding MEC?
Well, MEC is just, I mean, that's just a tax consequence. So sometimes that's okay. Like I had a conversation with a guy that does like super like advanced, the guy Chris Gandy does advanced markets and tax planning. He's like, so what? It's a MEC. So all that means is that you'll pay taxes on the gains that you get. That's all that means. But otherwise it's the 7 pay. It's like whatever calculation they do for how much cash can be contributed inside of like 7 years or 7 payments or something like that.
Is it like 5 years or like 500,000 5 years or 600,000 in 5 years or something like that? I don't know.
That's a really good question for ChatGPT.
Thanks, Justin.
You're welcome. Okay. Any others?